basic architect. Yeah. We're still out here in Norway. We're in Kristiansand. And let's see here. We're in the heart of a whole series of multi-family buildings. Just pretty decent designs. I like them. Use of some natural wood, some brick. You can see the weathering pattern on the side of that building. It's pretty interesting. See how the water is graying the corners. But we're headed over to those two buildings that are under construction to see how they do things. So stay tuned. More to come. Yeah, so as we move down, you can see there's brick, but this one changed a number of the materials here. It's a metal panel. Kind of looks like aluminum, maybe stainless steel, but the seams are pretty tight. We'll see if we can get over there a little later. It's like, I don't know, one of the better metal panel systems I've seen integrated. A couple things to note, and we've talked about it before. Actually, you can see it here. See the lower two windows right there. They have integrated shades. You know, one of the things about European buildings is that when they buy a window, they buy the insect screen and they buy the shading device. So you can also see it on the darker black brick building there, and you can see the shading device there, and over at the end, pretty much all of those windows there have that shading device on it. But one has a nice integration of black kind of a iron ore brick with that wood complement. It's a Nordic spruce, I believe. And then it's got some pretty cool cutouts on the corner there for the balcony. But yeah, shading devices, they come somewhat integral when you're in Europe, which is really interesting because we could pretty much care less in America on exterior shading devices, but they are so important. Over here, let's take a look, because I think this is actually pretty cool. There's actually a couple. Now, these tower cranes, that's pretty much typical. It's for those of you not familiar, it's called a hammerhead crane. You can see because it has basically the hammerhead on the boom up there, and then it's put a whole bunch of counterweight there to balance out anything that it lifts. And you can see it on the red one there too. But this crane here, you can see, doesn't have a cab like this one does, where the person is actually operating it there. This one's being operated from the ground down here. These are pretty common. We've seen them on residential sites in Europe, where they come and they basically unfold it, but that cable comes all the way back, and the counterweight you can see here is based at the bottom of the crane with that very strong cable to counteract that boom. So it appears that this little crane is here to offload trucks and move material, and then the red and gold crane there are actually responsible for getting the material to the building. So head into those buildings and check it out. So stay tuned. So I made my way over to the building that has the panels. So you can look here really close. It appears that it's some type of like metallic covering on top of some type of polymer panel. You can see down here, especially if I go here and zoom in, you can see where the fasteners are. It's really being challenged, and I don't think this building is that old. Now, one of the issues is also, this is an open joint rain screen. And when you're dealing with an open joint rain screen, the issue becomes that edge of the panel really becomes a challenge part. One, it's flat. Two, it's taking in water because there's probably a little bit of pressure pushing the water in. And so you really have to make sure that the panel you're putting it on is not just a faced panel where it's dealing with water and substrate and such on the outside, but it's also handling the challenges that those panels are going to see as it turns the corner in that open joint rain screen. One of the other observations here is, notice here the lower joint, and we'll just pan across it here, right? That lower joint is really being challenged. You can see it there. And the way that I know that it's due to water and not, say, the panel simply failing, is as we go up the panel, notice that the severity of the problem diminishes. It diminishes, one, because we have this large overhang here, and those joints are not seeing the same amount of rain, but even these kind of mid-height joints are seeing a lot less water, because this is not only seeing the rain that's hitting the wall, but it's seeing all the water that's coming down from above. And so the maximum amount of water is that first joint there, and that is really becoming a problem. And you can see some staining. You also notice right there on the corner of the window. But anyways, as we move across here, this was pretty cool. This the ore brick building. But notice here, I just like this from an architectural detail. Every one of these units basically has its own little dock. So you can bring a little boat in here and you can hook it up. So I'm assuming this whole building is sitting on a set of piers behind that screen there, although I can vaguely see, if we zoom in on it, it does look like there's some kind of foundation wall about an inch below that water line there, but not very deep water. I mean, that's probably drafting about 6 or 8 feet of water. But as we come down here and we look, you can see that window, the one just below the upper, has that integrated shading device, and the one below tilt, and then the one below that is turned in, and the bottom one here is also turned in. So tilt turn windows, but it's that integrated shading device there that is really helping out. And it appears that all of these windows have that. I'll take a walk down here. See the one down at the end. It would be interesting to see the detail as these cantilevered concrete decks there. You know, nice detail with the glass, but I can't imagine those decks are thermally broken. But here's a good shot of all of the shading devices, so you can see you can bring them down, basically stop them at any level, but they are full shading. Let's just take a quick walk over the bridge here. You can see we're literally right in the harbor. The thing that's I find pretty interesting in Norway is so many places I find where they trust you to simply not be stupid. Meaning, I mean, this is a drop of, I don't know, probably about 10, 12 feet to the water. Certainly you can't dive in, but they don't have any rail system. It's basically wide open. So that would certainly be a no-go back home. But we did integrate some ways to get down into the water here. It's a nice little series of dropped patio and stairs and such integrated. What's interesting is they have those little beads that we've seen pretty much everywhere in Norway to assist in blind people to understand that that's the edge of the deck. So you kind of have some integrated stairs with some bleacher seating, and as you can see, it's just an absolutely gorgeous view out here. And yes, we will eventually make it to those buildings. Steve Basic Architect, you know it. Long live our buildings.